Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. In this video we're going to be fiberglassing the Corsair. So if you don't recognize this place, it's because we're upstairs, because there's just more room and it's less dusty. And that's good, because otherwise if there's dust under the lamination, it could happen that the parts delaminate if I cut something out with a Dremel or so. But otherwise I'll show you around. So here I've laid everything out. The wings are here, the canopy, the fuselage. Here I've gotten my epoxy. I've gotten the 80-gram fiberglass. It's just normal 80-gram fiberglass. I got this from Amazon. Then I've got paint brushes, gloves, and a pair of scissors. You need 2 pair of scissors. I still have to get one, but I couldn't find one right now, so I still have to get some. We prepared the floor, and here are all the parts I'm planning to do this night. So all of the gear doors, there only one side have to be done, so that's going to be finished today. From all of those surfaces, only one side, and then might be able to get the wing and the canopy done. So otherwise, saying that, I'll get started with cutting the fiberglass for the necessary parts, and then we'll get started with fiberglassing. Let's do that now. So guys, I've got now all of the fiberglass parts cut out. For the smaller parts, I'm gonna first go with the with all of the landing gear doors, because they're the easiest, because they're the most flat. Then I'm gonna do this. This is all gonna be with trying to go with the first batch of glue. Then I'm probably going to do the canopy, and I might do the top side of the wing today. And then I'd love to get that done today, because then tomorrow we can get the other side done and get started on the fuselage. Because today we're starting a bit late, but tomorrow we can start a bit earlier. So yeah, let's get that done now. So guys, we used up the first batch of glue, and I got all of the stuff, the first side done. We're really nice with the 80-gram. Really, it's exactly what I expected. And now I made a little pause, and my father's mixing up a new batch of glue. And also for this batch, we also did the motor cowling here. Real nice. Done really nicely. So yeah, it's all done nicely, all looking great. And yeah, basically now we are going to do the hatch and the top side of the wing. So let's get that done now. So guys, it has been about half a week since I filmed the last clip, because I'm working on some other video ideas for purpose here. You can see there's some parts lying there for the next video that can come out next week, but that's just a little teaser. So for now, what we did, we got this wing finished. this wing is finished for next video, where we're going to be preparing this thing for primer. So it's all glass, bottom, top. We still have to do the little touch-up glassings like in front here. So this is what we have to do at the very end of glassing this thing. What I like to do, at least for now, because it's the first time me fiberglassing, is I'll go over the whole aircraft and with a little marker just circle parts that aren't that don't have any epoxy resin or fiberglass on. So I'll show you what I did. So on the flaps, very simple. I did this top part and then these parts, leading edges. I thought to myself, I'll just leave them laminated because it's way easier than fiberglassing those. And they fit exactly perfectly like this now, with the little edge there, see? And I didn't want to make that have to sand there a ton, but this worked out nice, really happy. So the hinges all still work perfectly, just have to pop them free. So all still work perfectly. This also worked nicely. It has the perfect indent that I wanted, if you can see it. So basically what I did here is I applied the fiberglass and I just took my brush, dunked it into the epoxy, didn't drip it off, and just poured it over these things. And then they of course touched the table because they were sacking in. And what I did, I just gently took my glove and did this on the fiberglass and stretched it out in all of the directions, and it slowly stretched it out. And yeah, that's perfect. Then gear doors, these are definitely the best. They turned out the best. And yeah, those turned out nicely. Those are trimmed already, of course, because they didn't need a second piece. So here on the bottom now, when we do the gear stuff, we're gonna make this a scale piece. So stay tuned for that. But for now, what we're gonna be doing, this wing is glassed. It's all trimmed. There are imperfections in it because it's a bit messy. But this is how you trim it. You trim it not perfect, not really accurate, because you just don't want any fiberglass contacting with each other from the bottom then, and it all getting dirty. So you just trim it roughly, and this also worked out great. Really love the way it worked with the vinyl. The vinyl was no problem glassing over it. Worked out really nice. And there are a few bubbles in, like here. I messed up here, and because of these surfaces, it's not the smoothest. So we'll have to do a bit of sanding there and filling. But that's okay. Here there also is a little bump, if you can see. We'll have to sand spots like these. They have to come completely off, and we're going to fill it with fiberglass putty. Like on this spot here, this I just have to cut it out because there was a bubble. Same here, and fill it with fiberglass putty. So next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I fiberglass. Of course, this is not even near to perfection because it's the first time for me fiberglassing, but it's definitely better than the first few pieces. I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to be fiberglassing the wing to finish this wing today and show you this wing. And then we're going to do today the bottom side of the fuselage. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to lay it onto the side like this and fiberglass one side and then the second side. So this is probably going to take the rest of this week because we have to fiberglass this side today. And then this is bad, the framing is bad. So fiberglass this side today and then fiberglass the other side tomorrow. And we're gonna do a big piece of cloth until here and then 2 strips down here. So that's how we're gonna do it. So we're gonna do this. It's gonna take me for today and tomorrow, these 2 sides. And then what we're gonna do is on the 3rd day is elevator top and then bottom. So it's gonna take me 4 days to do this, including today. 4 days including today to get the fuselage done. So I'd say let's get doing that now. So guys, it's the next day, and now I'm just going to be fiberglassing the wing. So yeah, I'm just going to show you how it's not how it's done, because I don't know how it's done, because I'm literally experimenting with fiberglassing on this airplane. But one tip I have is with your brush, do this. It takes all of the little brush fibers out that are loosely in there, so you don't have a lot of brush fibers in your fiberglass mix. And yeah, then the fiberglass is 81 grams. I got it from Amazon. It was pretty cheap there. Looks nice, works well. And for the epoxy, wait, let me get it. I'm just using this. It's epoxy. I don't know what specific type it is. It works well though. So yeah, let's get started with this. And of course, my mixing cup. I have my tarp underneath, and let's get started. So what I like doing with the big areas like the wing, I have all of this fiberglass laid out. I cut it roughly to shape. It should be bigger than the actual shape because you'll have overhang. And what I'll do is I'll get this about halfway back, and I want to do this curvature first because it's one of the difficult parts, the curvature. So what I'm going to do is just take my epoxy resin and literally just go on with it and start putting it over the whole area. So this can be plenty because you at the end can either cover it with toilet paper or just leave it like this. You can cover it with toilet paper. I really don't care because I'm not worrying about the weight of this airplane. So yeah, because this airplane won't be anything like over 25 kilos or something where I have to start worrying about it because I live in Austria, but this isn't a heavy airplane. What I'm doing right now is I'm just getting the structure also done up. I just thought about this right now actually. Thought it'd be smart to do this now than later. On the other wing I sadly did not do it. So I'll have to pay for not doing it later when we do the gear video, but that's alright. It's not tragic, nothing tragic. So yeah, you just want to cover this with plenty of epoxy, especially on the corners. Really, too much never matters. You can always sand it down. Really doesn't matter if you get way too much of this stuff onto here. Treat all of the wood nicely if you do it. It's nice and strong. So if you think I'm putting a lot of epoxy on here, it really isn't a lot because the fiberglass really soaks up a ton of that epoxy. It's really amazing how much epoxy that fiberglass really sucks up. I'm also doing the flaps here, the insides. Just giving all of the wood some nice treatment. So I forgot my gloves. Always wear gloves. Forgot those. And also scissors are important. On the wing the scissors aren't that important, but on areas like all of the control surfaces, they're pretty important to get around the corners. So I'm just using those gloves. I'm using them because I can use them more often, and they're just normal working gloves, and they're rubbery and don't accept the epoxy. So that's why I'm using these. So yeah, just get air in everywhere. So then you take fiberglass and just gently lay it over there. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you're gonna make it perfect with your brush. So now what you're gonna do is lightly apply it everywhere. Start here. Again, this is just my opinion to start here. I like starting here. Just gets around the corners pretty nicely. So here, all of these holes that I made previously, I'm not happy with them. They're not scale enough, so I'll just go ahead and fill all of these right up. These are all getting filled. And also on the corners here, you want to have the epoxy going a bit over the end, so you can cut it nicely. Just all makes for a better finish at the end, and that's all we need, is a nice finish. That's all we're looking for. Nice clean finish. And always sand parts completely off and then redo it with fiberglass putty, but if you do it right here, it's easier in total, and will also be a lot lighter than if you put a bunch of fiberglass putty over this. So just try to give your best doing this, getting all of the edges around properly. So this is a bit of a pity with the gear doors and everything, because you don't have, like on the top side, a nice big surface where you can round the whole thing. So it's kind of tricky doing the back. I would recommend doing the back first, then going front. And one big tip is soak the whole thing in the epoxy, and when it's soaked, then improve the bubbles, because it's just easier that way. It's easier that way, loads easier. And if you have corners like this one right here, where there's, like for this example, there's the ventilator right here, big of a bump, you put a lot of epoxy in there, so the fiberglass really sticks in there. So the more epoxy, the more flexible your fiberglass gets. That looks looking nice, and here looks like we're gonna get the bubble or not. You can just get the bubble out very simply by just striking it down. So this is definitely the best piece I have fiberglass now, because I've had definitely some practice already. So this piece definitely came out the nicest. Just take your time. You have plenty of time, so take that time. And the more time you take, the more beautiful your result will be. And it doesn't matter if you mess up bad, like I did on a few parts, but it just will get heavier through that plane, because you'll have to cut or sand down more fiberglass and then add bunch of fiberglass putty in that area. But It's not a big deal, but if you want to keep it nice and light, you would want to take some toilet paper, unfortunately. So I'll have some here, and what you'd want to do, or whatever, and just like place it down, and this would suck up all of the excess epoxy. Then after like a minute or two, you just peel it off simply, and then you'd have a really nice thin layer of fiberglass over there that really is as light as it can get. But we're not worrying about heaviness, so we are chilling here. So just get that all the way over. Yeah, so I think from here on, now I'm gonna start the time lapse, because otherwise this video would just be way too long. We can just finish this part, and then we can go ahead and start the time lapse, do the fuselage, and after the fuselage is done, when it's lying there to dry, I'll go through you how I did that fuselage and some challenges that I came past, because I think it's going to be quite challenging, the fuselage, not as easy as these parts. So yeah, but one tip, the more epoxy, the better it bends the fiberglass, because the more soaked it is. And on the edges here, you can see I put a bit of epoxy here, and that's just so it's easier to trim at the end. So those are a few tips I found on the internet, mainly from the lighter side of RC, because he makes pretty good fiberglassing videos. He did one, and that's where I basically learned this from. So yeah, I'd say now I'll finish this, and we'll start the time lapse of the main fuselage. So let's get to doing that now. Guys, the corsair is finally fiberglassed. So the other side turned out good, not as good as the other side, the first side, but that's all right, because on this side there were a few more imperfections. I also did the whole thing here, because this thing is not the opening on the real corsair, so we'll have to put a lot of putty there. There was a little hole here, and something that I messed up with a lot is here. So if you can see, yeah, that ran. It definitely ran properly here. But that's no problem, because the epoxy we use, it's very easy to sand. It's very tough. It's not fully dry yet, but it's very tough. It's very tough to break, but it's not hard, really extremely hard to sand or anything like that. But otherwise, we've got a little thing here where the fiberglass didn't go over the other piece of fiberglass properly. Same thing here. And here, the elevator, nice and strong. Main thing I want is that the rudder gets nice and strong, because it was very floppy before, and now there's zero movement in that thing. That thing is super strong. You can press it as much as you want, and that won't be anything. The crack you just heard was the fiberglass, so that was this edge here cracking. So that wasn't the wood. And then all of this, super solid, worked out really well. Another thing I really was concerned about is the antenna, just so you know. I took that one off, because here also, this is the overlapping side. Loads of work to do with sanding. So until this thing is finished with primer, that's probably going to be another 2 videos. So next video, what we're going to do in this thing is just fully sand it off, get ready for primer. And then in the next video, we're going to get it primed and fully smooth out. And then we can start with rivets and that stuff. So, yeah. But otherwise, this thing is looking really nice right now. And with that said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. And I'll see you in the next one.